Well, football, a very calm, relaxed and non-dramatic sport.
What the fucking hell's happening?
It's fair to say the introduction of VAR to the beautiful game has been one of the most controversial decisions in recent years. And this season has been no exception. So I asked you guys to provide the worst VAR mistakes of the year, of this season so far. And I can't lie, at least like 54% of them are from the Carabao Cup Final. You may remember I did one of these last year and we love a dramatic thumbnail in these parts.
I'm disgusted, absolutely disgusted.
But if you're going to enjoy this video, then feel free to slap a like on it. In fact, no. If your team has been shafted by VAR at any point, then slap a like on this video. And if you're new to the channel, then feel free to subscribe as well. Over 1,154% of you are currently not subscribed. Right, now first of all, we have got, honestly, this is top 3 worst of the season, definitely. Like some of the other ones that we'll see today, it's like, oh, the interpretation of this one referee was that this was the decision to be made. But this one, if you just look at any refereeing rulebook, you'll see that it's a pen. And this is Rodri's handball against Everton. This was just last week. Frank Lampard was, as you can imagine, frustrated about it. I mean, we call it football for a reason, don't we? Do you know what I'm saying? But obviously, no, it is a crippling defeat. Like, if we just look, and I know we shouldn't look at all of these decisions in just screenshot form, right? But when it comes to handballs and obviously offsides especially, that is all you need. Like, I don't understand how the ball is hitting his elbow. This isn't, oh yeah, it's hit his shoulder and like a bit of his sleeve and whatever. This is ball to bicep action. His arm is not by his side. It's stretched outwards. It's unbelievable. I genuinely don't know what the reason is. I would love to know if there's any trained referees out there that are watching this video. What exactly VAR has not seen here? What is going on in the VAR room if they're not seeing this decision? Oh, James, mate, I didn't know you'd put the volleyball on. Oh, I'm a bit disappointed, really, mate. They've actually got clothes on this time. I hope everyone knows that this is actually match fixing. Whoever the referee is was paid at least £1.3 million. That would be excessive, to be honest. Man City, if you were paying the referees that much, then I don't even know if it's worth it. Next up, we've got Everton versus Arsenal here, and it's Ben Godfrey escaping a red card for basically stamping on Takahiro Tomiyasu. Now, for what it's worth, right, I saw a few people argue here that he's not looking when he proceeds to slap his boot on his face. There is like a glance down before the boot connects, and plus, like, he knows he's there. Like, the man's fallen over in front of him. I'm not saying it's an intentional stamp, but it's quite clearly just a bit reckless. For me, if you're eating studs, no milk, whole milk, semi-skimmed milk is in the bowl along with these studs, then the person that's inflicted the challenge has to be getting a red card. You've got to wonder maybe whether the VAR officials just like, look, listen, lads, he plays for Everton, man. It's already bad enough. And finally here, from the official, has the referee or VAR made a mistake Twitter account. So shouts to them for providing some content for this video. Again, we've got a City-related handball here. When Rodri's is not getting given, but this one from João Moutinho for Wolves is, where's the consistency? How can this is literally going square into his armpit. This has provided more contact to his armpit than any deodorant has in the last 2 months. Honestly, if you took the surface area, right, of this ball, I'm talking full-on Year 11 GCSE foundation paper, there's no way they were doing surface areas in foundation papers. The last question in a foundation paper is like, what, 6 times 8? But if you didn't do foundation maths, then you'll know the higher surface area here is touching his chest. Sounds crazy, but yeah, his arm is up, yeah, fine, but it doesn't hit his arms. There's no problem there. We have Rodri against Everton where the ball has quite clearly hit like a solid part of his arm that's not covered by the sleeve, because for anyone who doesn't know, basically the handball rule, or what is usable as an item of your body to score a goal, ends up where your sleeve ends. If it has touched his arm, it's because physics has moved his sleeve down towards his shoulder because his arm is in the air. But I don't think they started slapping out equations made by Isaac Newton in the VAR room. They didn't even know what sport they had on the monitor a second ago. Oh, right, that was the beach volleyball. Right, come on then, let's move on to the Carabao Cup Final. We all know that's what you came for. First of all, we've got the offside against Romelu Lukaku, and I realized that this image specifically was filmed with a dishwasher, but basically, this is ridiculous. I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I get the logic that they've applied because they've measured it from his sleeve, and again, if you don't know, that's where like the last point of entry for where a ball can hit without it being a handball. Like, you can see in terms of the lines of the pitch, Lukaku's legs, the majority of his body are behind or in line with Van Dijk. Obviously, the attacker's gonna point to where he wants the ball to go. It's just another disadvantage for any striker. Also, they did this check in the space of about 6.5 seconds, which to me, that doesn't sit right with me either, because there's no way they drew these lines accurately in that short space of time. You know what it is? I think the reason there was so many, like, controversial decisions in this game, it's the Carabao Cup, innit? They don't have the budget of the Premier League to start, like, actually putting all the cameras everywhere. They just draw the lines, they just get a ruler out and just see what kicks off. They're just watching the game in their living room at home on like an LG 32-inch TV, and there's no rewinding either. They're just on normal Sky. In fact, it's the old one. It's the NTL from the bootleg one from back in the day. They're watching on an NTL box that has a maximum of about 56 channels on it. The whole box office section is just grayed out. So as soon as anything happens on the screen, it's like, did you see that? No? Okay, well, keep it moving. Just give it as offside, fam. You know what it is as well? If Romelu Lukaku wasn't built like a Subaru Impreza, he actually would have gotten away with this as well. Next up, yet more anti-Chelsea propaganda with a decision here. Naby Keita. This to me is a red. But I understand why people don't think it is. If you look at it from this screenshot, then he's Jackie Chan'd him straight in the nuts. I'm gonna be totally honest with you. It's a horrible challenge, but the only thing I would say about it is, in the moments before this screenshot was taken, obviously the ball is in the air. Like, Keita's boot is high. Chalobah's was also very high. It's just that Keita's is the one that connected. So, a little bit of a grey area in the sense they were just both trying to, like, control a ball that's flying out of the air. This isn't a tackle. This is Keita just attempting to control the ball and missing it, and Chalobah missed it as well. But for me, I think it is. Like, when I saw the replay, I was like, and I knew he wasn't getting a red, I was like, you are a lucky boy. Because if he'd been on the end of this as well, we all know what Naby Keita's muscles are made out of. There's breadsticks that have more structural integrity than his fibula. And finally, from the Carabao Cup, we have got Joel Matip's disallowed goal given offside because Virgil van Dijk got in the way of Reece James and was in an offside position when he did so. Once again, I understand the premise, like the rules that they've used in this situation, but again, they just don't apply here. So obviously, Virgil van Dijk is being deemed here to be offside and interfering with play. But if you stop it at a certain point, Reece James has his arm around Virgil van Dijk. He's just being marked. Like, I don't understand where the whole interfering with play thing ends and where it starts. He's just being marked. Like, if you were to say, oh man, flipping, there was a guy that's offside over there, and the left back then had to look at him and try and trace his run even though he was offside. He interfered with play because otherwise, if he wasn't there, like, where do you draw the line? Unfortunate pun because VAR. Next up, we've got Duncan Watmore with a handball in the FA Cup to knock out Manchester United. This was in the build-up to their equalising goal. I mean, what more could he have done to break the rules here?
Stop it.
The thing is, it's not a VAR error, technically. I want to clarify this. This isn't actually even an error on VAR's part. This is just an error in the rules, where because he got the assist for the goal, and rather than scoring it, it doesn't count. There was a couple of times, I think it was last season, where we had handballs that were getting given, but they were happening like a minute and a half before the goal went in, and everyone was like, right lads, come on. You could say that a foul was given about 20 minutes ago that was incorrect, and then just chalk off every single goal. But there has to be a balance here. Like, this man directly created, assisted the goal, but because he didn't score it, it's not a handball. Just make a rule where it's like one turnover of possession means that the move is cancelled out. So there's been a handball, and then the ball has changed hands. Again, that's a bad choice of word. The handball, if it leads to a goal, doesn't count. We're back at Arsenal here, who I cannot lie are, like, I feel bad for Arsenal fans because you lot get some absolutely disgraceful VAR decisions go against you. This is one of them, and this isn't even one that went to VAR. He's volleyed the kid's calves. This is child abuse, and it's not even getting checked. Like, if you are volleying another person, we at least have to have a second look at it. This was a league game. They had the budget for this. They at least had a Virgin Media box. If you did this in the street, you'd be in court by Wednesday. We return back to City. I mean, we're going to St. James's Park because they were facing Newcastle here. This is Ryan Fraser getting assaulted off the ball by Ederson. The ball is kind of running away from Ryan Fraser. João Cancelo is gonna get the ball. Like, you can quite clearly see, like, even if Ederson doesn't foul him here, João Cancelo has the ball. But I disagree with that. Off the ball incidents exist. Like, Ederson is so far away from the ball. I genuinely believe it's a foul. Chelsea versus Brighton next. Now, this is the first time I've seen this. Bruv, this man leant down to the ground to handle the ball. This is the least natural position an arm could ever be in. He is literally touching grass in this situation. At Burnley versus Norwich, and we've got Tim Krul getting both of his fists and applying them both to Matip Vidra's face. It's not possible to, like, sprain a jaw, but he has. You'd see James MacArthur in the courtroom if you did this out on the streets. Spurs versus Liverpool earlier this season was an absolute car crash. There was Diogo Jota's penalty that wasn't given. There was Sadio Mane's elbow in the first minute that wasn't given. Andy Robertson was obviously sent off. That was fair. That was definitely a red card. But to go along with that, Harry Kane should have been red carded for his challenge on him earlier in the game. Studs up, off the ground. I know he got the ball. I've seen Spurs fans say it's not the point. To be honest, it's not how the world works anymore. There was a time back in like the 80s where if you got the ball, it didn't matter whether you snapped everybody's legs in half on the way through. Not really the case anymore. And let's add a little bit of continental spice, shall we, to end things. In the Champions League, this is the worst. Matt Hummels is the one that gets sent off here. Just take that in. And I'm not saying it's a red card for anybody. I think it's Anthony is the guy that he's challenging here. And then finally, we've got this one from AC Milan versus Napoli. Late in the game, it's Olivier Giroud, I believe it is, lying on the floor. And he's been given as offside because he is in contact with, he's being laid on by a Napoli defender. That is pretty much the reason, even though he doesn't touch the ball at all at any point, he is just interfering. And this is what I'm talking about with the whole interfering with play, because he's not. He's just simply making contact with someone who's already on the floor. If we're just being honest, like, can we please just use some sort of common sense? That, though, is going to wrap up today's video looking at the worst VAR decisions, every single one of a 21-22 season. If there's any that I missed, then drop them down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, though, feel free to slap a like on it, and of course, subscribe if you are new to the channel. You can also follow me on social media. It is @officialfng on Twitter and on Insta. But it's been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy yourselves. And goodbye.